Welcome everyone to another episode of Talent You Should Know, where we focus on the entertainment industry on a different level. Not only will there be artist and actor interviews of known and unknown talent, but insight into the team behind them that helps them build their brand. Each week, we'll tackle a different person in the industry with talents in their own rights. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome everyone to another episode of Talent You Should Know with Zag. Tonight we have a really special guest, Tasha Mackk of Black Girls in Media. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am so good. You look nice and tanned. Were you in Mexico? Was that the picture that I saw?
I was, a little safe social distance trip with my friends. But yeah, I definitely got a tan. I'm excited. And it was my first time out of the country. So.
Really?
Yes.
Well, you weren't in Tulum, which is where everyone else has been going. So you were in Cabo or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss having a tan. I was like, when I was getting ready, I started putting on my foundation and I was like, oh, this is my summer foundation.
Right.
It was like, no, that's not this one.
Right, and I'm the opposite now. I'm over here looking like a ghost with my makeup. Let me get some summer foundation.
So I want to start from the beginning. I know you went to North Carolina A&T and NYU, and you majored in public relations in both of those schools. So was that your intention, like just to be in PR, or did it just kind of, you started and you said, you know what, I like this?
Yeah, it was definitely the latter, because I went into A&T just like undecided. Like, to be honest, I didn't even like my mom helped me get into college and everything. Like, I didn't really take it that serious for some reason. And when I went, I didn't know what I wanted to major in.
Yeah.
And so I went in undeclared. And then my second semester, I started like exploring majors, and then I was like, okay, well, I like to talk, so like let me look into communications.
Yeah.
And then I started learning about PR, what it was like, and we started doing like case studies,
right,
and like mock brand campaigns and things like that. And I was like, okay. So I just started to take a like to it, and I declared my major to be journalism and mass communications with a concentration in public relations. And then, when I went to grad school, when I went to NYU, I just decided to further my knowledge in PR.
Yeah.
And I majored in public relations and corporate communications there.
So was that so when you were interning at like, BET and VH1, was that the vein that you stayed in the communications department, or like what were your takeaways from that, if not?
Yeah, for sure. So I definitely, you asked if I majored in, what was the question? I'm sorry, one more time.
I was saying, what were, so I know you did the internships at VH1. I said, what were your takeaways from that? And then I said, what were you in their communications department or somewhere else?
Oh, yes, for sure. So I definitely was in the communication departments for all of those.
Okay.
The first one, I did Comedy Central, which was in their PR department. And then the next internship that I did was at BET, and that was actually in their programming department.
Yeah.
And so there I was able to work closely under the president of programming at the time. So I was able to just like navigate and like walk around and learn about, how they program shows, how they come up with like content.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily communications, but it was definitely, in the same entertainment realm. So I just soaked up the things I learned, the people I met.
Yeah.
And after BT, I went to VH1, and then I went back to their press department. So it was just like a good overall experience to just navigate through the doors.
I did like a brief stint back when Freeform was ABC Family, and I worked in their programming department, and the amount of scripts that they get
on a regular basis that they have to read through, I'm like, this isn't fun. This isn't like to get on that and then to have to talk to these people and say, okay, no, this is how you have to frame. Then you have to deal with, do they want to change their script? And it's just, there's so much that goes, behind that and everything.
Yes, for sure. I definitely commend the whole department. They're so dedicated to what they do. Like even like all the entertainment departments that I just witnessed, like production and seeing them run around, get ready for all these shows, get the food for set. And it's just, made me appreciate all types of departments, careers.
Yeah.
I started to take a like to just entertainment in general.
So after that, after you got your master's and you're out in the world, tell us what happened. What was that right after you got out of school?
Oh gosh. So right when I got out, so I was in New York and I was by myself in New York. All my family is in the South, Charlotte, Atlanta. So I was definitely a brave one to be there for 2 years.
Yeah.
And when I graduated, it was just it was like crickets. I wasn't getting any leads. I wasn't getting any opportunities. So I just ended up coming back home to Charlotte to just figure things out. And it was kind of like a postgraduate depression period,
Yeah.
I didn't have anything set up. So I was just trying to figure out my way. And that's when basically I created Black Girls in Media, when I was looking to connect with other women and really try to get myself opportunities. So I was really something that I wanted to create to help myself. I just ended up helping many more people. So it was just a blessing in disguise.
So was it originally called Black Girls in Media, or were you just kind of because I think you said you started a group chat or something like that, and then it grew.
Yeah, it was still called Black Girls in Media. So I was in a lot of different group me chats, just media hiring, just trying to get hired. And then so I was like, let me create something for, people like me. So I just literally created the name. I was like, Black Girls in Media. And I created a fake logo in Canva. And I just, I added my friends and my colleagues in the chat. And it just started growing. And then once we actually outgrew GroupMe, because they had a limit, I think their limit was 1,000 people.
Wow.
So then they were being difficult to extend it. So that's when I just started, creating my own platform. So I started an Instagram for it. And then we started doing events and just figuring out more ways to connect with each other and all the members.
So, and let me tell you something. I don't like communities. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm not a community person. I probably should be, considering the line of work that I'm in.
Yeah.
But how I found out about you is that I follow Jalen on Instagram, and she was a speaker. And so then I looked at your platform and I was like, okay, this is nice. This is nice. And then I, delved in it a little bit more, and I felt like it was super simple, but super deep, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's it's a really great community. There's no snippiness. There's no, I'm better than anyone. It's very encouraging and very I said, oh, I can live here. You know what I mean? And I can ask a question, and I can do this and that. And I really kind of appreciate how you formatted that to it really being something where people are there to help each other,
For sure. Yeah, that is refreshing to hear, because that was my main goal. It's Instagram or social media in general these days is so much content that we're consuming.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And it's it can be overwhelming. So anything that I create, especially Black Girls in Media, I wanted it to be simple and straight to the point. So this GroupMe, post your opportunities, who's hiring, who's let's cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Let's not waste each other's time. And so that's what I try to do with everything. All the events we have, I really try to make it as valuable as possible to cut through all the, BS that's out in the cyber world these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, one thing I read that you said about this is you said that it's ours. And you said we're building a community together and we have, deeper conversations, richer polls, and real life events. And I feel like, even, and I'm saying this because I want everyone to know about this, is that you have these master classes on, hey, how to write a book, how to do this with your 9 to 5. And these are things that, are free and they're so valuable, but, for people who are just starting out, they really need that.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And that goes back to like just the real resources, because especially during this time, a lot of people aren't in school, a lot of people are lost. And so if I have a big platform, I'm definitely going to take that serious and try to, help improve somebody's life. So yeah, that's definitely my goal.
So I saw you mentioned you learned how to, edit things yourself. And how empowering was that for you? Do you still do it today? And like, just, yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in just being like a student at life.
Yeah.
I feel like some people, especially those that they are hesitant to tap into their creative side. So like say they have a 9 to 5, and they just are used to being told what to do, things like that. It can kind of be difficult for them to tap into their creative side.
Yeah.
So I always try to encourage people, like if you want to be creative, if you want to do more, then just tap into it, try things, like I with Black Girls Media, I'm always thinking of ways to grow it. So I was like, oh, I want to start interviewing other women in the media industry.
Right.
So let me start a podcast. And so, like I'm not going to reach, even though I could, I'm not going to reach out to people I know and say, hey, help me start a podcast. I have the capability just like anybody else.
Right.
So I'm going to YouTube, I'm going to research, and I'm going to make it happen.
Right.
And it's funny because my brother, he just started his creative side. So his creative thing is baking these days.
Okay.
And he texted me the other day and was like, he sent me like a whole bunch of clips and was like, can you make me a video? And I was like, no, like figure it out. Like,
right.
And he sent me his TikTok, his whole reel got like 5,000 views. I'm like, now look, like you should feel proud of yourself because now you know how to do it. Now you can be as creative as be.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely an advocate for just a being self-taught, always willing to learn, no matter how old you are.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really enjoy that.
As an entrepreneur, right? We all sacrifice things. Mm-hmm. So can you tell us some of the things that you sacrificed that you have no regrets about and have had the greatest impacts on your success?
Yes, it's funny because we were just talking about Mexico. And I said that was my first time out of the country. And it's really because since I graduated NYU, I've just been on grind mode, like I've been creating Black Girls Media. I've been doing PR on the side. I've been growing just my personal brand as well, my YouTube and things like that. So there were many trips and vacations that like I passed on. Like I know the first time I was invited out the country, I couldn't go because somebody gave me the opportunity to work the BET Awards. And so, that was a sacrifice. Like I canceled my flight and everything. And I was just like, I think I changed my flight from like the vacation destination. I've changed it to LA for the BET Awards.
Right.
And I was just like, like who knows what opportunities are going to come from this. And not many people will be willing to make that sacrifice.
Yeah.
But I did. And I've sacrificed many years from going on trips and doing certain things that other people did to, focus on myself, save money, do some more work. And I think now I'm just getting to the point where I'm like, I think God is just telling me, you have done enough.
Right.
Yes, like still work, but you can at least enjoy yourself. You can at least go on a trip here and there. So that's one major sacrifice that I've made over the course of like, I would say 4 or 5 years. and I don't regret it.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions just as, as a publicist, right?
Uh-huh.
And so one of them is, what is the difference between a content creator and an influencer?
That's a great question. Is there a difference? Let me think. What do you think?
Well, that's, I don't know, like if I'm, this isn't my profession, but I would imagine that an influencer is someone who has enough, followers or, presence in the industry to, make a difference in sales and that kind of stuff. I think a content creator is someone who uses their own, their original stuff. That's just my, take on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I kind of think it's like a hybrid because there's like a fine line, because I feel like influencers, they have a large following because they probably post often, they're consistent, they connect with their audience, and they do this actually through content, whether it's posting YouTube videos, they can be a YouTube influencer, whether it's posting Instagram outfits.
Right.
They're influencing, but they're also doing this through the content that they post and share.
Right.
So I feel like it's kind of just the same. And then also coming from a content creator's perspective, a content creator is creating original content to share.
Yeah.
And through becoming a large content creator, they're also influencing. So they become an influencer too. So I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's hand in hand. But
So, also, what are your opinions on Clubhouse? Because I know that, like, I read something where you said, "Oh, Clubhouse, you should wait at least a week after meeting someone to contact them, right?" But things move so fast, people forget. So, is that still kind of like your thought? And, what do you think for people who are trying to get in? Who is it really for?
Yeah. So I think you're right. Like, things move really fast and you never know, like, if people remember. I think that it's very appropriate if, like, you get off Clubhouse and then you, like, quickly DM somebody so that, they don't forget. And then if they don't respond, then maybe a few days later, you can shoot them an email and, remind them. But yeah, I think Clubhouse is for the people who, are searching for knowledge. I think it's great that everybody is trying to connect with others and still network during this time, so that when outside opens back up, they have like a new Rolodex.
Yeah.
I feel like Clubhouse is not for people who don't have discernment. Like, they're kind of just lost and trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
And they don't know who to listen to and who not to listen to.
Right.
So I think Clubhouse can kind of get scary in that aspect.
It's hard because, I go in different rooms. Like, a lot of times I'm in the, music of business rooms, or I'm in the entrepreneur rooms or marketing rooms, because those are the things that I feel like I need to strengthen, right? Like, I need to strengthen my branding and my marketing. Like, those are things that I need. And then sometimes I'll be in rooms and I'll hear people ask questions and the moderators give answers. And I'm like,
yeah.
Like, are y'all gonna take that, or are we? So
I think it's crazy too, because you can literally do anything with this tool. And you can pick it up.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, when outside was open, if you were to pay for an actual event in your field, you already know that person who's on that stage got flued out.
Yeah.
They are credible, and you know who to listen to.
Yeah.
But this phone, anybody can get on there. So it's just like, chill. I don't know.
So going into kind of like, now that we were talking about panels, was this your first digital conference that you held for Black Girls in Media?
Yes. So it's crazy because we did events often, but they were always just kind of like meet and greets in person. Right. And so I always had doing an actual large conference in mind. And then so when COVID hit, I was just like, okay, like I think this is the time to get some practice in.
Yeah.
And now I don't have to worry about like the overhead as far as like a venue. Now I can just do an online event and conference and book speakers and see if I can do it.
You're right.
And yeah, I did it. So the first one was in April. No, the first one was in May.
Yeah.
And then I did a second one in August.
Was that the 2.0?
Yes. So yeah, those are my first conferences, and now I feel like I'm ready to start planning the in-person conference. And yeah, it was super lit. Like I loved it. The feedback was amazing. The conferences were great. So yeah.
Yeah, I made a lot of really good connections.
Good.
Through that platform. Like I said, I really love it. So what do you think, what surprised you the most, having started Black Girls in Media, just thus far? Yeah.
What surprised me the most, I think the overall growth in it, because you know how like certain people, like of course I'm not famous or nothing yet, but you know how some people say, I never expected to be famous, or like, oh, I was like, that was my intent. Like my intent is, you know, pure and just wanting to connect people. I never intended it to grow as much as it is. And so I think that's what shocks me, and to see it impact people.
Yeah.
It's just a good overwhelming feeling, but it's definitely like surprising, but I enjoy it.
Is there anyone in your industry, or maybe not even in your industry, that you look up to and that you would like as a mentor?
That's a good question, because you know what's crazy? I don't even have a mentor, and I never have. And this year I put mentors on my vision board, because I feel like in order to keep leading people, like I need somebody that leads me. So that's definitely a goal of mine. But as far as specifics, I love Valisha. How she
I was thinking.
Yeah, I love Alicia. I think that what she's created is amazing. Like, who doesn't know about, you know, her company? Who doesn't know about her personal brand and her career? And I think the way she's able to create Ween Academy, and then still have a great career for herself, and also be married and just balance it all.
Yeah.
That's super commendable. So I attend like all her master classes, but I never met her. I haven't met her yet, but she's definitely on my vision board.
Yes.
Who else? I love the connections and the work that Karen Civil puts in. I know a lot of people.
Oh my gosh.
I think she's so underrated.
So underrated.
Yeah.
She's so dope.
She is.
She is so dope. And she's just like, she's one of those, she might be underrated, but I think the people in the industry that know her, like, they're like, no, that's who it is, right? That's that chick.
Exactly. Yeah. I love her. And who else? There's one more person. And really, yeah, I think there's just so many people doing great things. Like, especially now, I feel like Black people are just really tapping into like our power. So I'm just inspired like every day. Yeah.
It's funny because I'm consulting with a company, and the guy's like, oh, you know, I want you to do this, this, and that. And he said, man, it's your time. It's the time for Black women right now. Like, this is it. You know, this.
It is.
And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I believe it. So, tell me what's next. What are your plans for Black Girls in Media? Do you have other plans for this year outside of that, but in the same field? What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm planning the 2021 BGIM program. So, of course, like this year was the first year that we did membership, and where we did like the monthly webinars and the daily group chat. And that was kind of my way of like making the membership more organized than just a group chat.
Yeah.
And so that was cool. So this, I'm in the works of planning like 2021. membership, and I just want it to be even more structured. I want it to be more beneficial, work with some more amazing speakers.
Right.
So yeah, I'll be announcing that pretty soon. And also I'm looking to do more partnerships with corporations because of course, these corporations are seeing the value of us.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then also I would love to provide any opportunity to my community. Like if, Visa wants to give my community money or scholarships, like I'm looking for those kind of partnerships. So that's really what's in the works.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, I want to thank you so very much for being on my show. Like, I really wanted to just do a nice one-on-one with you because I love what you're doing so much. And, yeah, it's talent you should know. And
Yes.
yes.
Thank you. And you're amazing. Thank you so much for this platform. Thank you for being active in the community. It means so much. It keeps me going when others are enjoying what I create. And I love that you're providing an opportunity for talent that people should know because there's so many people doing great things. So thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Talent You Should Know. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well as leave a review. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.